Hi guys. So in this video, we cover two topics. One is how to call a API from SQL Server. Second is once the API is given a response as a format of JSON, how can you read the JSON in the SQL Server? So let us start the first one. So mostly you might have seen calling the API from the uh, front-end applications, but we can also call the API from the SQL Server. So for that, let us create one stored procedure stating, for example, HTTP request URL. Okay? And I will take two parameters. One I will take as a URL, which is varchar max, and the second one is result. Result as a varchar also. And this I will declare as output parameters because I want as output. Now let us start what exactly we can do it. So to call API from the SQL server, we have a special stored procedures in the SQL server, which is called as a OLE automation procedures. So this using this special stored procedures, we can call a APIs from the SQL server. So there are few steps. One, we need to create the request. Second, we need to set the property as a get or post, and we need to pass the parameters if anything is required. And finally, we will get the response from the API. So as we have a get and post methods, today we will see the get, and in the next video we will see the post. So what are the commands we need to execute to get the response from the API using SQL Server? So I have a few steps which already written. Instead of typing, I will just copy paste. So there are the procedures. So first of all, we need some local variables. Let us declare that. One, I need it as a response, and this is also like I can declare as a varchar. Second, I need it as a to store the error. So this also I will declare as a varchar. And the final one I need as a sorry, this one I will say request. This I will say as a response. So this is also, for example, you can say max. So we got three local variables. Now the next step is we need to use this special procedure. So basically, we'll call this stored procedure way create with this win HTTP. So this particular string is useful to call the any web services from the SQL server. So when I say web services, it's a old-fashioned web services or the APIs, whatever it is. And we will send this request we will get the request as an output parameter. Now every step, whenever we are executing, we will store the error message in this particular variable error. So after each and every step, we will execute the error method. We will execute the error method. So there is another stored result which is get error info. So using this, we will pass this request. So when we pass this request, if any error in the previous step, if there is no error, then we are moving ahead. If there is a error, response will be zero. So we are checking if the error message is not zero, then we are proceeding further. Okay. So next step is let us define the method. So what method we are using? So there is a create method store procedure. There is a get an error info. And now the third one is OM method. So this will define which method we are using, whether we are using a get or whether we are using a post. At the same time, it will take the URL. So this URL we will pass afterwards. We will pass to this stored procedures, and this URL we will pass over to this method. So now it takes couple of parameters. One is the request which we defined over here. Second one is the get method or the post method. Third one is the URL. So URL is the any API URL. Okay. Now this step is also done. After that again we will check the error message. If there is no error, then we will move further. So the next one is so now the next one is we will send the request using this O method. So the request is nothing but this request. The original URL is here. Still now we haven't passed the original URL, but we are forming a request. Now the request we are sending using the method. Now again I the will check the error method. And once there is no error, then I will move further. So here we are saying like get the properties. So when we have sent the request, we send the request now. After that, we are checking if there is no error. Then we are getting the property. This property is what it will do. It takes the request and it gives the response. So original API will execute over here. So we are getting the response as a output. So we are storing those response in the output parameter. Now again we will check the error method. If there is no error, move further. We got the response. So the next step is we need to destroy the object which we have created. So we have created here. Now we are destroying the same request here. So we are destroying the request. After that again we will check one more error. Like if there is no error, then we are done with this. So now the final step is we need output. We need the output of the stored procedure, which we need as a part of a result variable, right? So now what we will do, we will store this response. We will store the response in the result. Okay. So now where is the response? So response is here. Need to use, right? So this response I need to use and here. So whatever I have declared the variable, I just rename it. So this is what exactly the response we will get, and we will storing this response as a part of a result. Now this result is a output parameter for us. So these are the steps. The first one, we have created a request. Every time we are checking the error message. After that, we define the get or the post. Currently, we are using get. So get has no parameters, so it no problem. There is no payload for the get. So we will see afterwards. We will see how we will post a payload to the API using SQL Server. Today's video is only for the get. So now we have a get. After that, we are checking the method error information. Then we are sending the request. After that, we will get the response, and we are storing the response in the result parameter. Now this stored procedure is ready. Let us see if we are okay or we will get some errors. So this is perfectly done. So sometimes if you are using this first time, you may get some sort of errors like this stored procedure. This particular procedure is blocked. Okay. So in that case, if you're getting a block message, block error, then what you need to do, you need to execute this particular uh, command. So there is a reconfiguration. After that, you can use a sp configuration configure method, and this particular string is fixed, and you are setting to the one. If you are getting a block message, it means that your OA methods or this OLE automation procedures will set to 0. If you execute this, it will set to 1. Then afterwards, you can use these methods. Okay, coming back to the stored procedures, we are done. We have executed successfully. Now we need to use this procedure, right? So let us go to the separate window. Let us remove this. Now I need to use this particular stored procedure to call the API. Now originally we need to have a API URL. So I will use some sort of a Google related API. So where I will pass two pin codes to get the distance between two pin codes. This is ready-made API from the Google. You can use it. Once you register in the Google API developer console, then you will get API key. From there you can use it. So I have some URL over here. So let me copy. So what I will do, I will copy this URL. To store this URL, I need one variable. I will say URL as a varchar max. And now what I will do, I will set this entire URL as a this one. So now here I needed two pin codes. One is origin, one is the destination. So I need two parameters. So let me declare, sorry, let me declare two pin codes as a parameters. I can say varchar 10 and one more variable as a pin code 2. This is also parameter varchar. Now I have a URL, I have a pin code 1, I have a pin code 2. Now I need to use this stored procedure to call this API by sending the parameters to this particular stored procedure. So this stored procedure takes two parameters. One is the URL, and the second one is the result, right? So I will declare one more parameter as a declare the result, then max, right? Now, so let us call this stored procedure, and this is the stored procedure, right? So why it's saying could not find? I will use this, and then I have two parameters. two pin codes and the URL, and I'm passing the result. Everything is perfect. Now I need to have a two pin codes, right? So let us use some random pin codes like 530068 1, and another one is 1100 and 1. Some random pin codes. Okay. I'll I have a I'll get the result on this response as output. So let us print this response. Now let us see what will happen if I execute this. So there is some sort of a error. So this is the declaration. The There was error in the declaration of the variables. So this we need as an integer which we have declared as a varchar, and this is also required as an integer error message. And the response it not takes max varchar as a max, it takes varchar 8000 as a specific. So now I have changed this declaration. So let us go back and execute this method. So I have two pin codes and the URL, API URL. Now I am calling this procedures, stored procedures with the URL and the test is the output parameter. So now the moment I execute it, it gives me the response of the Google API as a form of JSON. So you can see this as a huge JSON where somewhere in the middle of this JSON you have a what do you say result text values which is in the kilometers. Now we need to get these kilometers because we are targeting to get the distance between two pin codes. This the entire JSON is not required for us, right? So how can you get it this JSON out of this, right? So in the SQL server, we have two JSON queries. You can say method also because it takes parameters. So you have a JSON query as a first one. Now it will take JSON as a parameters, and it takes as a dollar as a root of the this JSON, and then out of that, if you ignore all this starting point, we will start from the rows. So here we have a rows. So let us take it as a rows, and we will see what will happen in the rows. Okay. So rows as a element of JSON, and I'm passing as a 0 because it takes the first value. Now let us see by executing this what I will get it. So now second variable, if you second result, if you see, I get rid of all this starting part of the JSON, and this result starts from the after the row. So row after the row there is an element, right? So this is the element. So after the row, whatever the value is there inside the row, in fact it says inside the square bracket of a rows. So a rows has a parent and all the children of the rows we will get it as the output over here. Now I want a output as a this kilometers rather than everything. So now the next part what I will do, I will access the elements. So let us see what will happen now. The moment I say elements, now the element parent is also removed. Now I got a distance, right? So let me access the distance. So distance. So let me access this distance. So if I access this distance, I got the last leaf of a text and the value. So now I need to get these kilometers out of this text. So what I will do, let me declare one variable over here as a JSON, which is also varchar max. I will take it and I will store this value on this. Now to get the exact value out of this JSON, I need to use JSON value, and this JSON value takes this as the input. And what I need a text value, right? Text. So I will pass this text. Now let us see what will happen. So exactly I got the kilometers value. So this is what the achievement. This is what the context of this video. So what we covered how to call the APIs from the SQL server, and we are using the Google API uh, to fulfill this requirement, and we are passing two parameters. We will get the distance between the two pin codes. Now, how to get the value out of JSON? So this particular part will cover how you can get the value of the JSON out of entire huge JSON string. Okay. Now I got the last value as a 2165 kilometers between these two pin codes. Okay. So this is how we need to call the APIs from the SQL server. Currently we covered get. Next video will cover the post with the payload. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and keep learning. Thank you.